I want to talk politics for a moment. I mean, part of what I see as the explosion of anti-Semitism is related to the Trump era and the Trump police, and you have been a moral voice against him for a long time, and that's much appreciated. But the political question I have is, how are you going to win? How are you going to prevail, given the scenario of the Republican Party? And maybe that's an unfair question for this forum, but it's the only thing I can think about.
I don't think it's unfair. Look, I think the way I win is right here. And if you saw some of the recent polling that came out in the last couple of days and shows me gaining here, I think this is a state of reasonable, smart, informed people who want a different choice. And it's not going to be easy. But I really believe that if we nick him here, I don't necessarily have to beat him here, but just come close to him, he'll start to believe politically. And I can't tell you how many people in New Hampshire come up to me and whisper to me, whisper, go get him. Now, I'm now using a phrase at my town hall meetings that says, New Hampshire doesn't whisper. New Hampshire roars because of their position in our presidential selection process. But look, what I'd say to you is, and to everybody that you talk to or here, like, this is the place where we have to make the stand. If we don't get Donald Trump here, he's going to be the nominee. And so this is not one where we can all say, well, eventually it'll work out. I'm spending all my time here. I have not spent 1 minute in Iowa because there's no hope there for somebody like me. But there's hope here. And if you look at the recent polling for him, he's at 42% here in New Hampshire. That means that 58 to 60% of the Republicans in this state don't want him. That's what gives me hope. Is, you see these national polls that show him at 58 or 59. Well, that overweights some of the South, and overweights some of the Mountain West. But that's not the way we elect a president in this country, or nominate a presidential candidate. It's state by state by state. And this race will change immediately if I beat him here. Immediately. Because the people who are whispering will now know they can speak out loud. They get courage all of a sudden. We can't expect everybody to have courage. I mean, Mary Pat saw it. This woman, I was walking out of a restaurant yesterday for lunch, and she was probably in her early 70s, and she was there with her husband having lunch. And I walked by, I said hi, and I got by her, and she grabbed my arm. And I turned around and looked at her, and she said, so I leaned over and she said, hey, I love what you're doing, go get him. I said to her, I'm going to try, but why are you whispering? And she said to me, because a lot of my friends don't like when I say this stuff. Mm-hmm. Look, here's what you need to know about some of the Trump supporters, is they are the loudest, like their leader. But it doesn't mean that the volume of their voice represents the amount of support. And I think that you're having an opposite effect, since we're talking politics, of what happened in 2016. In 2016, you didn't see one poll with Donald Trump winning the presidency, not one. And in fact, we were on a call that night of the exit polling at 5:30 in the afternoon on election day that said Hillary Clinton was going to get 360 electoral votes and the Democrats were going to win the House and the Senate. As we know, that's not what happened. Why? Because people were lying to pollsters all along, and they were even lying when they came out of the voting booth. Because it was not politically correct to say at that moment you were for Donald Trump. He was running against the first female nominee for President of the United States in our history, and he was Donald Trump. So unpolitically correct to say you were for him. I think the exact opposite is happening on this polling now. And the whispering tells me I'm right. If a pollster calls you, people are so distrustful right now. They don't want to tell that person they're not voting for Trump. Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Good, there you go. Goodbye. And get off the phone. I think there are a lot of whisperers right now. And if we do well, those whisperers are going to feel empowered to raise their voices. So I may not be right. My analysis may turn out to be wrong. But this is the only way to beat him. You know, you're not going to beat him with Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. I'm telling you, you cannot beat him with people who would raise their hands on the stage and say, even if he's a convicted felon, I will support him. And that's what they said in the first debate. And you remember, if you watched the first debate, I was the only one that didn't raise my hand, and I got booed by 7,000 people in that arena in Milwaukee. And that's what they can't bear. But I'm a Republican from New Jersey. I'm just getting booed all the time. Like, it's just a part of life, right? And so you can't be worried about being booed if you want to be president of the United States. And we've got to have a higher standard in our country than allowing, and he will be convicted this spring in Washington. He will be. And we have to have a higher standard than having a convicted felon for president of the United States. If Washington and Adams and Jefferson and Franklin had known that someone would have the audacity to run for president as a convicted felon, they would have put that in there with 35 years old and natural-born American citizen and not a convicted felon. They would have thrown it in. They never thought they'd have the audacity to actually do it. I said last night, Adams in particular is spinning in his grave right now. He cannot believe that the country he fought to form and the government he helped to create could be led by somebody like that. So look, I only know one way to do this, and this is probably a New Jersey thing too, like break through him. Not around him, not next to him, not cuddling up, not trying to be cute. Go at him. And he's not on these debate stages, I will tell you, for one reason and one reason only, is because I'm there. And he knows I know his act. And as I've said many times, guys from New Jersey are expert at dealing with obnoxious people from New York. We've been doing it our whole lives. And he knows that's true.